It is time for another 1-minute market update where we talk about the two things that you should care about most as a homeowner or a potential homeowner. That's how much is your home worth today compared to what it was yesterday, and how long would it take to sell in today's market. We are in July now, so we are looking at the stats from June. And kind of like over the past couple of months, detached homes have been very flat, surprisingly flat actually. Now, a flat market is not exactly something to get excited over, nor does it necessarily mean anything, but the reason I bring it up is because it's now been a couple of months where detached homes have been relatively steady as far as pricing goes. So while I'm not necessarily calling a bottom by any means, at least over the past couple of months, it's been steady. You haven't been losing as much money, which is a nice thing, I suppose. But anyway, let's jump into the numbers, starting off with detached homes in Burnaby. You are down 1.1% from last month and down 9.1% from this time last year. New West, you are up 0.5% from last month, but down 7% from last year. Coquitlam, you're down 0.3% from last month and down 4.8% from last year. Port Moody, you're up 0.4% from last month and down 7.3% from last year. Port Coquitlam, you're up 0.1% from last month and down 4.2% from last year. Maple Ridge, you are down 1.2% from last month and down 7.2% from last year. And finally, Pitt Meadows, you are down 2.2% from last month and down 6% from last year. Now, there's a particular pocket of detached homes that has actually fared better than others, and you might catch it if you pay close attention to the numbers, but Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, and Port Moody, they've actually been doing reasonably well, and so is New West. So sort of the area east of Burnaby, but west of Maple Ridge, that sort of pocket in there. Detached homes really haven't been dropping very much, at least over the past sort of 3 or 4 months. Fraser Valley, on the other hand, for the most part has, well, not plummeted necessarily, but it's not doing anywhere near as well as north of the Fraser. Now, what we've seen in the past is that typically detached homes will lead market changes, either on the upswing when prices are going up or on the downswing when prices are going down. So it's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of months whether townhomes and condos follow suit and sort of like bottom out and just sort of stay steady like we've seen with detached homes. And speaking of townhomes, let's jump into the numbers for those. Burnaby, you are down 0.9% from last month and down 6.1% from last year. New West, you're up 0.7% from last month, but still down 2.8% from last year. Coquitlam, you're down 0.7% from last month and down 6.4% from last year. Port Moody, you're up 1.2% from last month. Not bad, but still down 2% from last year. Port Moody actually not looking so bad. Port Coquitlam, you are down 0.9% from last month and down 7.3% from last year. Maple Ridge, you are up 0.2% from last month, but still down 6.4% from last year. And finally, Pitt Meadows, you are down 0.6% from last month and down 8% from last year. Now, before we jump into condos, there's something that I want to mention because it's come up in the news quite a bit, and that's the condo bailout. It's what the government's doing. They're buying 2,200 unsold condos from developers. Now, the big question is whether or not this is really going to have an effect on the market. Traditionally, if you're scooping up that amount of inventory kind of all at once, you're kind of shocking supply a little bit. You're taking a pretty dramatic chunk of what's available on the market and selling it. You're removing it from the market. But at the same time, allegedly, these condos are going to be purchased below market value, and they're not going to be, at least for the time being, they're not going to be resold. So whether or not this actually changes anything for resale condos, I don't really think so. What it may possibly do is change a little bit in the pre-sale or like brand new home market. And the only reason I say maybe is because developers are still sitting on a lot of unsold inventory. And because the pre-sale market has basically just died, even though you're taking away that supply, there still isn't really a ton of demand. So it's not likely to make much of a difference when it comes to pricing or really anything else. We're effectively just writing off those condos and, well, they're they're gone. They're not on the market anymore. But there are still plenty of condos out there, especially when it comes to, projects that are done or very near complete. And frankly, developers are getting kind of desperate to sell them, so oftentimes you can get them for pretty good deals. You still need to make sure you're buying smart. Like, just because it's a pre-sale and just because the developer is saying they're offering a discount doesn't necessarily mean that it is a good deal. You still really need to make sure you do your math appropriately. Make sure you know the numbers that you're buying at, and make sure that you've done your homework, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you are paying a premium for a product that in a market where you really don't need to pay a premium for it. That's how people got into trouble in 2022 as prices were going up. The people that bought at the premium, at the price highs, well, those are the people that are frankly kind of in trouble right now and just have to ride out the wave until prices correct, go up, whatever it is that they're going to do. Anyway, let's jump into the numbers for condos now. Starting off once again in Burnaby, you are down 1.2% from last month and down 7.5% from last year. New West, you are down 1.3% from last month and down 8.6% from last year. Coquitlam, you're down 0.5% from last month and down 7.6% from last year. Port Moody, you are down 0.7% from last month and down 5.6% from last year. Port Coquitlam, you are up 0.6% from last month, but still down 8.1% from last year. Maple Ridge, you are down 1% from last month and down 8.5% from last year. And finally, Pitt Meadows, you are down 0.7% from last month and down 8.1% from last year. Now, despite the fact that the news is basically all doom and gloom when it comes to the real estate market, and frankly, the numbers do kind of support that. Like, it's not a great market. It's funny, we've been in multiple offers a number of times this year, and you've probably heard me say this. If you watch regularly, you've probably heard me say this for a couple of months. Homes that, have otherwise been sitting, where we have buyers that are interested in them, but we're just sort of waiting to see where the prices go. When our buyers finally feel like they're ready to make an offer on a place, because maybe the place that they're looking at has done a price reduction or something like that, often we're finding ourselves in situations where we are competing with other buyers. So there is still demand out there, and the difference here with multiple offers today is that you're not seeing multiple offers where you're really going above asking price. What is happening though is that, the one buyer makes an initial offer that's quite low, and then another buyer comes in and, maybe makes an offer that's similar, but then they're battling each other out to see who will come up a little bit. And listing agents are basically trying to get them to come up as close to list price as they possibly can. So while sales are low, good homes are still in demand, people are still looking, and quite often when the right home comes up, people are ready to jump on things. There's a lot of people that are pre-approved right now that are just hanging tight and sort of sitting and waiting to see when the exact right home comes up on the market. And when it does come up, they're generally ready to jump on them pretty quickly. All right, jumping into days on market now, or how long a home is taking to sell on average. Starting off once again in Burnaby, you are sitting at 25 days on market. New West, you're also sitting at 25. Coquitlam, you're at 20 days. Port Moody, you are at 19 days. Port Coquitlam, you're at 22 days. Maple Ridge, you're at 30 days, and Pitt Meadows, you are at 33 days. If you are thinking of making a move this year, there is a link in the description below. You can click on it and book a time to chat with us. It's not going to be a sales pitch. We're here to give you, first and foremost, good and solid advice. Whether that advice means, just sitting tight and waiting for the time being, or whether it means making a move right now, well, that depends on you. For some people, it does actually make more sense just to hold off and wait. But for some people, it makes a lot of sense to buy or to sell. So really, like I said, it depends on you, and we'll find that out on that call when you book a time to chat with us. Anyway, I'm Angelo with the Atlas Group. I will see you in the next video.